Story by Mary Shelley Admirer. Am I the a-hole for calling child protection services on my brother? Oh boy.
Hey, you. Welcome back. My name's Jack, the snack that smiles back. You must be here to find out who the a-holes are today. Well, I'll provide the stories, you provide everything else, and let's get started.
It's beautiful, but it's so hot.
Just like you.
My older brother, 29 male, has a 4-year-old and a 6-month-old. I live in a different state than him, so I'm not around to see him or my niece and nephew often. When I visited home last week, I was actually terrified of what I was seeing. My brother does not socialize my nephew whatsoever. So much so, he cries and screams when he's in a new house or around new people. This didn't start happening until he was 2-ish. I thought maybe he was on the spectrum and should be seen by a specialist or something. But after 20 minutes of being around me, he's totally fine and back to being a bubbly 4-year-old. Now, my brother doesn't believe in things like autism, etc. Even though I have ADHD and was diagnosed when I was 6, and our parents had the same approach with me, and it was awful my whole life. Great, so we have a parent who doesn't believe in mental disabilities. Then it got worse from there. My brother constantly swears at him and around him. He screams in his face when he does something wrong, like yell when he's playing with me or gets excited. Like that little kid yell when you play tag, not yelling at me. He does it so much that my nephew was scream crying on the floor because my brother was like 5 inches from his face screaming. So I grabbed my nephew and said, "Maybe don't yell at a kid?" My nephew calmed down immediately and was fine for the rest of the visit. Then I came back the next day to say bye to everyone, and my brother was smoking out of a bong ring in front of him. When I got back home, I called CPS immediately and told them what I saw. I haven't heard back, and my brother hasn't said anything. I told our younger brother what I saw and how I called CPS. He blew up and started saying I crossed the line, and he said, "Doesn't hit him and he works hard to provide. He's a good dad." I'm no contact with my parents, so I can't ask them, and my boyfriend said maybe I should have just talked to my brother first. Now I'm not sure if I'm the a-hole or not. Edit. I guess I should add, I tried to talk to him about it when I was there. When I even suggested maybe talking to a therapist or a parent coach, he flipped and said I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm not a parent. Also, the mum is around. She's just really passive, so he walks all over her. The thoughts? Nata, your brother is not a good dad. The smoking in front of him alone is enough justification for you to call CPS. But screaming at a 4-year-old for being excited when someone is playing with them, that is just wrong. That type of behavior can become physically abusive really fast, depending on how the child reacts. Pretty gutsy thing to do. My concern with parents who are very aggressive with their kids in public is how much worse they are in private. That kind of open aggression and getting intoxicated in front of the kids are red flags. Others think you escalated fairly quickly, but personally, I think you did the right thing. Not the a-hole in my opinion. Nata, CPS is not going to take the kids away unless they think the environment is actually damaging. That is the unfortunate truth with what power CPS has. They don't exactly have the right to just come in and take the kids away whenever they feel fit. Also, CPS can't exactly be like spies and break into the house and catch people when they're being bad parents, as unfortunately they need proof to be able to take the kids away. Physical damage is easy to show and prove, but proving emotional and psychological harm is a different tactic entirely. Here's a concept for you. Maybe it's not the son, but the father, your brother, who is on the spectrum. He seems to have a low tolerance for the child's noise and limited parenting skills. That would explain why he possibly has a lack of empathy towards the kid. Nata, you feel the children are unsafe, you call. It's always anonymous, or should be, and if nothing comes from it, at least you know you did what you could. Are you in a position to have a monthly weekend with the kids? Unfortunately, this seems like a circumstance that just isn't fixable on its own. The wife certainly doesn't seem like she can put her foot down. And your brother clearly needs to take some sort of course in proper parenting. Though by his nature that you've described, doesn't seem like he'd be open to that. I do agree that calling child protection services was a good thing to do, regardless if he is your family. That child's safety deserves priority number 1. And I definitely recommend looking into that possibility that your brother is on the spectrum. because looking into that might be able to help you find a better reach around in coming to a compromise with your brother, at least in helping him sort out his anger issues towards the child. Of course, with your brother thinking stuff like autism doesn't exist, you'll be fighting an uphill battle. This story by Little Pieces of Disaster. Left a bad review at the dentist. Now they refuse to treat me. So, since I moved to a bigger neighboring city, I also switched to another dentist practice about 5 years ago. Since the first appointment, I was kinda agitated with the waiting times. Appointments always started at least 15 to 20 minutes later than agreed on. Since I had to travel with public transport, I was also codepending on schedules, so I was always early. No problem first 2 or 3 times, but then I started noticing it happened every time I had an appointment, and sometimes it took even an hour for them to catch up with my appointment. I told the receptionist about my issue, and she said it's probably because of bad luck. We never catch our appointments late, so I let it slide. Until it happened about 3 more times, and I got quite fed up. I left a 1-star review on their Google reviews with still kind and appropriate feedback. No cussing, just feedback. Even proposed a way in which they could better their customer service. A week had passed and I get a phone call. It's the same receptionist. She asks me in a passive-aggressive way if I already found another practice because of my review. I calmly explained the issue again to her, but she kept telling me that this wasn't necessary and that we could have come to another solution. I told her I'm not looking for another practice now, since I just got my appointments checked for this year, and she aggressively says, "I don't think the dentist still wants to take you in for treatments like this." I was baffled. Are they allowed to do that? Nonetheless, her way of talking to me ticked me off to the point I signed in at another practice within an hour of that call, mentioning that finding a practice in this city with free spots is difficult since it's a big city. Or am I the a-hole? I'm wondering. TLDR, left 1-star review on company Google page of my dentist, and now they refuse to take me in for appointments. I don't think people understand just how powerful a 1-star review can negatively affect a business. Especially in a big populated city area, everyone's gonna stay clear away from anything less than 4 stars. Like, achieving 4.5 stars in your reviews overall is a pretty big danger zone. Just go on Google Maps and look at all your local cafes, and look at the ones that have 4.6-star reviews. I can guarantee they don't get as popular as the other places. So I'd understand the dental practice being rather hesitant to want you to come back, but the way you've explained how they reacted and treated you as a result of that review was just shooting themselves in the foot. You mentioned you talked to the receptionist about the issue first, which was the right thing to do, and she pretty much dismissed it assuming you'd never go any further with it, but you did. Although I'd have to argue a 1-star review's a bit much, maybe 3 or 4 stars at most, and she basically calls you up telling you to get stuffed. If she was genuinely a professional, she should have heard you out and tried to figure out a compromise to better work out your situation. Maybe working on reviewing their current system, and trying to take time over the next few weeks to better streamline the appointments. So I personally don't think you're the a-hole. At most, could have left a higher star review. But that's my opinion. Quite a few people have different thoughts. Yata! They're a private business and can deny service to anyone they want for any reason they want. If it was that bad, why do you keep going back time and time again and get mad every time? Find a new place and move on. Nata, you are in your full right to leave a bad review, and the receptionist was unprofessional. It's a health service, so they shouldn't refuse service just because they disagree with your review. Nata, but why would you want someone putting their hand in your mouth after you'd given them a 1-star review? If it's that big a deal, why did you want to continue going back to the same practice if they were that deserving of a bad review? I mean, Nata, possible nah, because dentistry can be tricky to keep to an exact schedule, but it makes no sense that them being late in getting to you repeatedly warrants a bad review, but not bad enough to not go to a dentist that keeps a better schedule. So, you had a good reason to leave feedback, but 1 star is a really bad review if you were otherwise happy. And if you were so unhappy that you left 1 star, not sure why you would try to go back again. Everyone sucks here. I think the review was overly harsh and short-sighted if you wanted to keep going. They suck for being late and defensive. You are allowed to leave truthful reviews. As long as you didn't lie or you didn't cuss, that's definitely okay. Truth be told, I think it's more likely that the receptionist saw it, and since it was directed at customer service, she felt attacked and lashed out. Again, it is also possible that people seeing the one-star review think it's got to do with the actual dentistry skills and what they practice. It's not until actually reading the review that they notice that it's more so about timing and customer service. Either way, considering how expensive dentistry is, I wouldn't be surprised if this can affect their pockets.
Oh, hello. Hi. Just noticed you're quite a bit into the video. About more than 30 seconds. If you could like it, that'd be beautiful. Just like you.
Am I the a-hole for banning my children from the living room, kitchen, and bathroom while I'm at work because they didn't do their chores? I have a 15-year-old daughter and a 21-year-old son. On Thursday, I came home from work at 5 p.m. to see that they haven't done any of their chores. Now, they're generally good kids who clean up every day, but this isn't the first time it's happened, so it makes me angry. If they worked together, they would have taken them around 30 minutes to clean up, as the house wasn't even that messy. When I confronted him about it, my son said he was exhausted because he hadn't gotten any sleep and then had to work 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. He said he talked to his sister and she agreed to do the chores by herself. The way I see it, if he made this deal with her, he should have made sure she actually cleaned, so the blame is on both of them. I told them I had enough. So from now on, the first floor of the house where the living room, kitchen, and bathroom is would be locked while I'm away at work. I usually work 8 a.m. to 3, 4, or 5 p.m. If they want to eat while I'm away, they can buy themselves something from the store or the nearby restaurant. The way our house is built, they can access their bedrooms and the upstairs toilet without going through the first floor. When I told them this and that they needed to take their things upstairs, and they went to pack their essentials from the bathroom, I heard them both laughing and making jokes without even trying to be quiet. Saying things like, "What if we just took all the toilet paper to the upstairs bathroom?" And, "What if we just grabbed the entire bathroom cabinet and stashed it in our rooms?" So I didn't think they were even affected, but I later overheard them saying what a feminine pup I am, which, honestly, made me even angrier. Oh right, this is a woman speaking. I don't think it's unreasonable to expect them to do their daily chores while I'm working. They don't even have that much to do. All they need to do every day is clean the kitchen and the living room, empty and load the dishwasher, do the laundry, wash, hang and fold, then take out the trash and vacuum and mop the house 2 or 3 times a week. We have 2 dogs and a cat, so it needs to be vacuumed often. My son only works 5 to 6 hours per day, while my daughter currently has no other responsibilities. If the house ever needs a thorough cleaning session, we all do it together. I talked to my best friend about it, and she agreed with me. But my daughter is angry at me about it and has mostly been ignoring me when I try to speak with her, while my son has been avoiding me and then complaining with his sister when he thinks I can't hear him. Since it happened, I've heard them saying that I'm crazy, that I've done a lot of things, but this almost takes the cake. I just don't think what I've done is wrong. They need to learn their lesson since just telling them to clean obviously isn't working. The first floor has been locked while I'm away since Thursday, and it's been great coming home to a clean house. Am I in the wrong here? I honestly just think my children are overreacting. You haven't exactly mentioned that this is a reoccurring issue. Makes it very hard for me to understand if this discipline is justified or just you overreacting. It especially doesn't defend your case when your son clearly gave you a reasonable excuse as to why he didn't do much of the cleaning. I can understand when you say enough is enough, but I feel like you've gone a bit too far here. Let's see what some others say though. Yatar, banning them from having food? Basic needs shouldn't be withheld as punishment. Yatar, for the simple fact that you are withholding food from your 15-year-old, does your 21-year-old pay rent? No, but he pays the water bill and helps with the electricity bill if it gets high. So he does contribute to the household, and as such, he should have access to it. Sit them both down and talk to them. Communicate with them. Sending them to their room and withholding food really isn't a good look at all. Yatar and Natar, your son is a grown man. He's 21. I'm only a few years older, but I have been financially supporting my extremely poor family since I was 16. He can handle more responsibility. But your 15 is a different story. Not really an adult, and you cannot treat her like a grown-up, even though I'm betting she acts like a grown-up. I think, personally, your kids should respect you more and clean up after themselves, or do basic chores. It does seem a little extreme to lock down the house. I would have just had a chat and moved on. If it keeps happening, then go with the classics. No internet, no TV, no luxuries. Yata! They should be able to clean up after themselves, but locking down your house is a ridiculous and immature punishment from you. You should explain how them leaving a mess makes you feel and have an adult conversation about it. You're treating them like 10-year-olds. The fact you've made a throwaway for this makes me think that you already know that you're an a-hole. They need a parent, not a prison warden. Yeah, we also need to point out that as your child is under the age of 18, you are legally required to provide food for your child. She's only 15. She doesn't have the financial resources to supply herself. And leaving that all up to your brother is just an a-hole move. All this just because your kids don't clean occasionally? We need to stress that here. Occasionally. It's not like they're constantly never cleaning, it's just occasionally they don't. And she even admits in comments that it doesn't get too messy, like it's not a pigsty, it's just a bit tedious. So yeah, yata.
Hello. That does us for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're looking at my face right now, that means you liked this video. So all I appreciate is if you would like the video back. Because if you like it, then I'll like you for liking the video, and then I can make more stuff for you to like that you can like, and it'll be just a constant cycle of never-ending pain and suffering. So don't do it alone. Suffer with me. I don't know where I was going with that. If you haven't subscribed but you want to see some more content, then please, what are you waiting for? Click that notification bell so you're always updated on the latest content. And hey, why not check out some other videos while you're here? But anyway, that does me for today. Thank you again for watching. You're an amazing person. I love rambling at you. And I look forward to you staring at me beyond the abyss again soon. I can't close well. Don't at me, okay? My name's been Jack. Bye-bye. You're amazing. See ya!